Thank you. Hello, my name is Robert Merrill. I will be your tour guide today at the Pacific Aviation Museum. Now this hallway here shows you what life was like before the attack. And this also shows the two main hotels at the time. Behind you is the Surfrider Hotel, which is still in service at Waikiki. And then behind me is the Royal Hawaiian, also known as the Pink Lady, which is again in service today at Waikiki. Now, on your right is how people, is one of the ways people got to the Hawaiian Islands. It's by ship. And then the other way, which is depicted on my right here, is by plane. Now there was essentially two groups of people living in Hawaii at the time and also coming to Hawaii. Those who were stationed here by the U.S. military, and then also those who could afford to come here. Now you have to remember, this is 1930s Hawaii. The United States is still recovering from the Great Depression, and so are its citizens. So unless you had money and you were recovering very well, you couldn't come out here. Now, as you see, it's just very peaceful, very calm, and very relaxing. Now, if you follow me to December 7th, I will show you what Fort Island looked like and where the first bombs dropped. Now, this mural behind me shows what Fort Island looked like on December 7th, 1941. This hangar here is where we are now. And this building here is the control tower outside of the Pacific Aviation Museum. And this black tower here is a 280,000 gallon water tank that was later converted to a control tower, which is featured in the movies Pearl Harbor and Tora Tora Tora. Now, the first bombs landed down here by Hangar 6. Today, Hangar 6 is a vacant area. And the first bomb landed right about here. And although there were thousands of casualties on December 7th, there was only one on Fort Island, and he was Ted Croft. He was on duty in Hangar 6, and according to his autopsy report, he was killed by machine gun fire. Most likely, bombs are landing out here on the aircraft. He runs inside the hangar for cover. Then a bomb hits this corner of the hangar, starts igniting the ammunition stocks inside. He runs outside to escape the explosion and is strafed by a Japanese aircraft. Now, one of the aircraft that the Japanese used, depicted behind you, is the A6M2, which is more commonly known as the Zero. Now, this Zero was at one point flyable, and the pilot of this Zero is Shigenori Nichikaichi. And Nichikaichi has an interesting fate in store for him, which I'll get to later. Now, the Zero was one of the best fighters of the early part of World War II in the Pacific. Nothing could turn with it, and nothing could outrun it. Now, the reason why it had such great performance was because it lacked armor and it lacked self-sealing fuel tanks. So, American pilots learned very quickly, if you get a bullet in the right place in the cockpit, you will most likely kill the pilot. And also they learned that the Zero had no self-sealing fuel tanks. The Japanese considered armor and self-sealing fuel tanks unneeded weight, and it would just slow the aircraft down. So, they decided not to put them in their designs. However, self-sealing fuel tanks prevent the aircraft from leaking fuel and also made it easy to flight. There's reports where a single burst from a aircraft's 650 caliber machine guns will light up a Zero like that. Now, follow me over this way. During the attack, the Japanese used three main weapons, along with three different types of aircraft. The first weapon, depicted here, is the high-altitude armor-piercing bomb, and it was modified from a 17-inch Japanese naval shell. No, because at that time, the only thing that could penetrate the decks of a battleship or carrier was the gun, or the round, or the shell from a Navy gun. So they just added fins to it, and what the Japanese did is depicted over here is using an aircraft known as a Kate, fly up at 9,800 feet, fly over their target in a formation similar to this here, drop their bombs and hope one hits. Now, during this time, there was no such thing as GPS guided bombs or laser designators. So it was hit or miss, and the RAF's definition of accuracy was one bomb within 5 miles of the target. So that's what accuracy was in World War II. Now, the next weapon depicted here is the Type 91 torpedo. Now this torpedo is special because of those wooden fins. Now the Japanese had a problem when using this torpedo to attack Pearl Harbor. And that was, it needs a running depth of 90 feet to, how do I say this, stabilize and then start running for the target. Pearl Harbor is only 40 feet deep. So what the Japanese did is they added those fins that you see on the top of the torpedo. Those fins help stabilize the torpedo at a shallower depth so it can hit the target sooner. Now, 5 of those torpedoes sunk the USS Oklahoma and capsized it. Now, these torpedoes will be delivered slow and low by Kate aircraft. Now, the last bomb I want to talk about here is the precision delivered 551-pound bomb. And what made this was an ordinary bomb for the time, and a bomb like this is what scared Ted Croft out of the Hangar 6 and, well, eventually caused the destruction of Hangar 6 itself. And they were, the precision delivered bombs were delivered by an aircraft known as a bow, which is depicted right here. And the bow would come in at an angle, and what military planners and what aircraft designers learned is that if an aircraft dove in at an angle and it dropped its bomb, that bomb would follow the trajectory of the aircraft within a few degrees. So the Japanese, their pilots were trained to fly in at a certain angle, drop their bomb, pull up, and the bomb would head towards the target, wherever the aircraft was pointed, within a few degrees. You have to remember for wind and stuff like that. Now, the Japanese Zeros, their initial goal was fighter escort or protect the strike package, as a modern Air Force pilot will tell you. Now, since American aircraft were not able to get up that day, and most of them were destroyed on the ground, the Zeros went to their secondary mission of strafing. And again, they would just come in, Zeros, they would come in at an angle, and strafe a target on the ground. In this case, a PBY Catalina, being a full plane / scout plane for the US Navy.